Hey there, fellow soil lovers. Let me tell you about the day I discovered something that completely changed how I think about regenerating tired, lifeless garden beds. I was staring at a patch of ground so depleted it couldn't grow weeds, let alone vegetables, when I remembered an old permaculture trick involving cardboard and mint. What happened next honestly shocked me, and I've been using this method ever since to breathe life back into the most stubborn dead zones in my garden. Before we dive into the solution, let's talk about what dead soil actually means. When I say dead, I'm not being dramatic. I'm talking about soil that's been stripped of its microbial life, organic matter, and basic structure. You'll know it when you see it. The ground is hard, compacted, and dusty. When it rains, water just sits on top or runs off instead of soaking in. Nothing wants to grow there, and when you dig into it, you won't find a single earthworm. This happens for lots of reasons. Maybe it's an area that's been walked on constantly, or perhaps it's where construction equipment compacted everything during a home renovation. Sometimes it's just years of conventional gardening practices that have stripped away all the good stuff. Whatever the cause, you're left with something that barely qualifies as soil anymore. It's more like dirt, lifeless, and inert. Here's where things get interesting. The cardboard mint stack is essentially a layered system that combines sheet mulching with the aggressive, soil-breaking properties of mint plants. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mint? That invasive plant that takes over everything? Yes, exactly that mint. We're going to use its naturally vigorous root system as a biological tiller to break up compacted soil while simultaneously feeding the soil food web back to life. The beauty of this method is that it works with nature instead of against it. You're not bringing in a rototiller to churn up that dead ground. Instead, you're creating the perfect conditions for soil organisms to wake up and start doing what they do best, rebuilding soil structure from the ground up. Start by marking out your dead zone. Don't worry about clearing existing vegetation unless you've got woody shrubs. Even weeds will contribute to the process. Now comes the cardboard layer, and this is crucial. You want plain corrugated cardboard without any glossy coatings or excessive tape. I save boxes all year long for projects like this. Overlap your cardboard pieces by at least 6 inches to prevent any gaps where persistent weeds might sneak through. Before laying down the cardboard, give the area a deep watering. You want that ground saturated because the cardboard needs to stay moist to break down properly and allow roots to penetrate. Once your cardboard is in place, water it thoroughly again. It should be soaking wet, not just damp. Now here's where the mint comes in. Plant mint divisions or rooted cuttings directly through the cardboard. You can make slits with a knife or, honestly, just push through with a trowel. Space them about 18 inches to 2 feet apart. I prefer using common spearmint or peppermint because they're incredibly hardy, and you know their roots are absolute powerhouses. Those roots will drive down through the cardboard, through any compacted layers, and create channels that let air and water penetrate deep into the soil profile. What makes this system so effective is the combination of what's happening above and below ground. The cardboard acts as a weed barrier while slowly decomposing and feeding soil organisms. It also holds moisture against the soil surface, creating ideal conditions for microbes, fungi, and earthworms to move in and start working. Meanwhile, the mint roots are going crazy down below. Mint has a rhizomatous root system, meaning it sends out underground runners in all directions. These runners are strong enough to push through compacted soil layers that most plants couldn't penetrate. As they grow, they're creating pathways and breaking up that hard pan. When these roots eventually die back, they leave behind channels filled with organic matter that become highways for water, air, and new roots from future plants. The mint tops are working hard too. They're photosynthesizing and pumping sugars down to their roots, and about 30 to 40% of those sugars leak out into the surrounding soil as root exudates. These exudates are like an all-you-can-eat buffet for soil bacteria and fungi. As these microorganisms multiply, they start rebuilding the soil food web that was missing from your dead soil. Here's the question everyone asks: won't the mint just take over forever? Not if you manage it correctly. I typically let the mint grow for 1 full growing season, sometimes 2 if the soil was really compacted. During this time I'll cut it back occasionally and drop those cuttings right on top as a green mulch. adding even more organic matter to the system. When you're ready to transition the space to vegetables or other plants, you have options. You can manually remove most of the mint, keeping some of those beneficial root channels intact, or you can simply pile on a thick layer of compost right over the mint and plant directly into that. The mint will try to come back, but with regular cultivation and the competition from your new plants, it becomes manageable. Some gardeners even choose to leave the mint as a living mulch between rows, cutting it back regularly to keep it in check while letting those beneficial roots continue their work. I've used this method in areas where I genuinely thought the soil was beyond saving. The transformation is, honestly, remarkable. Within 6 months you'll notice the soil becoming softer and more crumbly. Earthworms appear seemingly out of nowhere. After a full year, you've got soil that holds water but drains well, that's dark and rich smelling, and that's absolutely teeming with life. The cardboard mint stack isn't just about fixing a problem area. It's about understanding that you can partner with aggressive plants for their benefits, then move on when the work is done. It's about recognizing that sometimes the best tool for healing soil isn't a tool at all, but another living thing doing what it does naturally. So if you've got a patch of ground that seems hopeless, don't give up on it. Grab some cardboard, get yourself some mint, and let nature do the heavy lifting. Your future garden will thank you. If this method resonates with you and you want to see more soil building techniques that actually work, hit that subscribe button and share this with a fellow gardener who's struggling with problem soil. Let's keep growing together, one patch of living soil at a time.